last passage from St Kitts and Nevis, we made landfall in jolly harbour Antigua, and there was lots to see and do while we were here. We spent quite a bit of time on the beach. And then there were the restaurants.
Hello, dear.
We spent a bit of time at the swimming pool, and while there, Annie managed to capture on video these speedy little hummingbirds. It was time for this sporty girl and myself to pack our things and leave Jolly Harbour. Onward to our next destination, which will be around at English Harbour. This will be the first time for Annie and the second time for myself to drop anchor in this beautiful English harbour, right outside Admiral Nelson's dockyard. We had a great time exploring this place with its old world charm. We occasionally use one of our old boat hooks as a selfie stick for the GoPro. And we're off to make the climb up to Shirley Heights. The weather was hot, the track was steep, rocky and very narrow. The further up we climbed, the hotter it got. We were both starting to wonder whether all of the effort was really worth it. We finally made it to the top, and the views were starting to look rather stunning. This is the brilliant views that we managed to take in from the fortifications up in Shirley Heights. Looking down over English Harbour, Anacan is one of those yachts down below us. We're watching the sunset out over the Caribbean Sea. And as we swing around, looking directly above the sign, you can't see it from here, but our next destination Guadalupe would be out there somewhere. Cheers, darling, to a climb up to Shirley Heights. It's that time again, where we'll take our boat papers and our clearance documents along with our crew list to clear out of Antigua. See you later, Antigua. We shall return. Our next port of call would be Iles on Guadalupe. And that would be our destination, just up ahead. Iles is very small, but very well sheltered and very popular as it's an easy day sail from Antigua to get here. Off we go in McKenna, our dinghy, to make landfall and to make clearance, to go through customs and border control. We found the government customs clearance computer in a dress shop. And afterwards, it was time to celebrate. We had a laugh, because just as we were getting back to Antigua, it started to rain. Iles was also a great spot to get stuck into some solid fish on the light tackle. This fight had been going on for several minutes before I got Annie to come up from down below to swing on the GoPro. Out comes the gaff, just a little early, when we realised that I'd hooked up with a solid Spanish mackerel. The locals over here call them a king mackerel. Haha, this fight had gone on for that long I had time to change my shorts, because all this was happening on the 2 kilo gear. It took 2 shots with the gaff, but guess what we were eating for the next few days? With all of the excitement we had in Iles, it was time to move on. So Annie at the helm again, out we go, out into the Caribbean Sea.
You're in 50 metres. You just ran over one, did you?
No, I missed that one.
Okay.
See it.
This was only a short day to our next destination, Pigeon Island. We had to keep a constant watch out for lobster pots. The anchorage between Pigeon Island and Guadalupe was a great spot for the night. It was my turn to cook dinner, and this is how Annie showed her appreciation. The following morning we were underway again, this time in almost dead calm seas. From Pigeon Island we were headed down to the Isles de Saints. One of the local fishermen in what is to us a very small boat and well offshore. As expected, as we sailed past the southern end of Guadalupe, the trade winds found us. And boy, did they start really kicking in. This was a typical wind acceleration zone. Anna Cam is right in her happy place on a close reach, climbing into 20 knots of breeze, and we're making a very comfortable 9 to 10 knots speed over the ground. After a fun little ride the last few miles, here they are, the Isles de Saints. We found the anchorage right in front of Terre de Haute, a beautiful sheltered location. The next morning we jumped in McKenna and headed ashore to see what was on offer in Terre de Haute. We found this place absolutely charming. And this is where the passengers embark and disembark from the ferry. This is a monument to the lost seafarers. Our nighttime views from the cockpit of Anacam. We spent quite a bit of time anchored down in Petite Anse. Annie loved relaxing, reading a book up in the cockpit. We explored the bay in McKenna. Past what looked like a resort, but it's probably someone's private residence. Past a catamaran that's obviously seen better days. It's obviously a very popular location for the day trippers. and this vessel came into the bay and dropped its anchor not far from where Antigua was. It's based on, we were told by another sailor, it's based on an Indonesian outrigger built in South Africa and sailed by a Swede and his son. The portside hull comes complete with a fire pit, and the mainsail is a gaff-rigged poly tarp. We watch another Caribbean sunset from the anchorage in Terre de Haute. The next morning, armed with our pink granny trolley, we head in to get some provisions. Oh, the drama of shopping in a strange location. The register we used would not accept any FPOS, so we had to pay for it on the second register, holding up the whole queue. Back to Antigua with a very good load of provisions, ready for our next destination. And underway once again, this time from the Isle des Saints down to Dominica. Once again, our speed over the ground was very good as we led 2 Australian flag catamarans all the way from the Isle des Saints down to Dominica. And just as we approached the island, the welcoming committee came out to greet us. Thanks for watching, and check out the next video in the series as we explore Dominica.